Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with executives of two public companies. First up is Nutriband. Nutriband Incorporated, stock symbol NTRB on the NASDAQ. Nutriband is a pioneering U.S.-based pharmaceutical company focused on the development and commercialization of transdermal technologies that improve the safety, comfort, and efficacy of FDA-approved drugs, benefiting patients, physicians, and payers. Nutriband's lead product technology, Aversa, is an abuse-deterrent transdermal technology that incorporates aversive agents to prevent the abuse, diversion, misuse, and accidental exposure of drugs with abuse potential, such as opioids, and it's a $22.8 billion global market. The company's first application for Aversa is an abuse-deterrent fentanyl transdermal patch, which is being developed to provide clinicians and patients a safe, extended-release patch for chronic pain. The goal is to make opioid-based pain treatments safe. Aversa technology has received patent protection in the United States, the European Union, Australia, Japan, Mexico, and Russia, with patent protection pending in Canada. With anticipated peak annual sales of up to $200 million upon FDA approval and a strategic partnership with Candiva for commercial development, Nutriband stands poised for significant growth. Nutriband's diversified structure, including revenue-generating subsidiaries and an in-house manufacturing capability, solidifies its position as a unique player in the biopharma sector, promising investors a blend of innovation, sustainability, and market potential. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Up next is Canfite Biopharma, an advanced clinical stage drug development company with a platform of oral drugs designed to address multi-billion-dollar markets in the treatment of oncology and inflammatory diseases. The company has two drug candidates in advanced stages of development: piclidenoson for the treatment of psoriasis and namodenoson for the treatment of advanced liver cancer. For each of the drugs, a registration plan has been agreed with both the US FDA and the European Medicines Agency, and enrollment of patients for a pivotal Phase 3 clinical study is ongoing for liver cancer and underway for psoriasis. Namodenoson also has a robust anti-cancer effect against pancreatic cancer, and a Phase 2A clinical study will be initiated in the second quarter of 2024. Due to the liver protective effect of namodenoson, a Phase 2B study for the treatment of NASH is currently enrolling patients. Piclidenoson and namodenoson have an excellent safety profile with experience in over 1,600 patients in clinical studies to date. We'll learn more when we speak with the CEO later in the show. Before we get to that first interview, our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. For me, the fun is to build, not to manage. I look for what's available, what is possible to do. That's the overriding consideration. There are a lot of things I would have liked to do, but didn't have the means. That quote comes from Dr. Phil Frost, chairman of OPKO Health, and it's featured in Chapter 4 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $18. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with Nutriband. We are pleased to have Gareth Sheridan, founder and CEO of Nutriband. Gareth, welcome back.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks for having me on.
Gareth, could you start by giving us a brief overview of Nutriband and, in particular, how your transdermal technologies set you apart in the pharma industry?
Sure. So Nutriband, we are a pharmaceutical company with a specific focus on transdermal technology. Transdermal technology essentially just means delivery through the skin. The key focus for us is on improving existing FDA-approved drugs. So whether that be improving the safety profile using our Aversa technology or improving patient comfort and outcomes using transdermal tech. Transdermal is particularly interesting. It's growing at about twice the rate of the pharmaceutical industry overall. And this is mainly down to technological advances over the last 10 to 15 years, which is opening up a whole new category of opportunity essentially in the space. What sets us apart really is the fact that we do focus on FDA-approved drugs. We're not developing new drugs in-house. This drastically reduces our costs, reduces our time to market. However, the final opportunity does not reduce at a similar rate. For example, our Versa technology, we've been working on heavily with our partner Canfite Drug Delivery since 2021. We should hopefully have our FDA submission in Q1 of next year, and the revenue opportunity there is $200 million a year for product number one. But we can touch on that in more detail.
Yes, absolutely, Gareth. I want to hear more about that Aversa technology. We know that with your Aversa technology, Nutriband has been at the forefront of the opioid crisis. Can you explain in more depth how that abuse deterrent technology works, and tell us about the impact that it could have on patients and the broader community?
So Aversa is really our core focus at the moment. It's our lead product candidate, it's our lead technology. Aversa is a platform tech that's applicable to virtually any patch on the market today, with the goal of drastically improving the safety profile of that patch, whether it be from overdose, accidental exposure, and so on. For us, and I think it's quite obvious, the clear candidate for this application is the opiate space. Fentanyl, buprenorphine, other opiate-based patches are widely used to treat chronic pain and treated very effectively. However, in their current state, which is marketed as a generic currently, they are can be quite dangerous or unsafe from accidental exposure or somebody suffering from addiction who wants to abuse this patch. So this is what we're tackling with Aversa. What we've done is develop a technology that makes it very, very difficult to abuse this patch. And the benefits are kind of threefold. Firstly, you have somebody who is looking to abuse the patch for an addiction purpose will have a drastically more difficult time to abuse the patch. Equally as important for us, and I think any regulator looking at this, would be accidental exposure. We have data that's come out recently, and unfortunately it's not pleasant reading, that there's been a significant amount of hospitalizations and unfortunately even deaths from accidental exposure to these types of products, whether it be a child picking up a used patch out of the garbage as an example. And thirdly, and again equally as important, is making sure that the stigma and the safety profile associated with these patches is improved drastically, so pain patients who rely on these sort of treatments can get access again, where over the last number of years they've had their access cut because of the fallout of the opiate crisis. Opiates have a negative name and negative stigma, but when used correctly, they're second to none for treating chronic pain, whether that's car accidents, cancer pain, end-of-life care. There really is no alternative. So unfortunately, you've seen over the last number of years, somebody who was reliant on a fentanyl patch, for example, had their access cut. And that resulted in cases where people try and get their opiates from the street now. It's resulted, unfortunately, suicide rates in the pain community have gone up because there is no adequate treatment. Somebody who is reliant on an opiate cannot be expected to take a Tylenol extra and have the same effect. So we think that's an equally as important issue that we're targeting, to make sure patients have access, people who are abusing it don't have access, and a key point, the accidental exposure is reduced drastically.
It's very exciting what you're doing, Gareth. You're making a much clearer demarcation between legitimate use of fentanyl, which you clearly make the case is very much necessary, and the illegitimate use, people who should not have their hands on that. Very amazing stuff. Let me just look at this Aversa fentanyl for a minute. You're pursuing a streamlined 505B regulatory pathway for it, and that requires only a single phase 1 trial, Gareth. Now, could you discuss how that approach is going to reduce development time and costs? I know you've looked at it before, but let's get at it again. And what does it all mean for the time to market?
Yeah, so what we're doing is it's a 505B2 pathway. We're working with Canfite Drug Delivery, who have an FDA-approved generic fentanyl patch. Our goal is to add our Aversa technology to their approved patch and refile with the FDA, which will be the 505B2 process. Because we're not developing a brand new fentanyl patch, we're not developing a new drug, essentially, everything that we add is primarily external to an existing patch. the development pathway is quite small. The partnership with Candeva is key for us. Again, we like to work with drugs that are already approved with the FDA. Plus, we have the benefit now of working with probably one of the #1 companies in the world in this space in terms of experience and the product and the FDA relationship. So for us taking this to market, we've begun working on this heavily in 2021 after our NASDAQ listing. And we're looking and targeting a FDA submission for approval early next year. We hopefully will have a 6-month expedited review on that because of the opiate space that we're targeting and the precedent that already exists. So from 2001 to 2025 is our development timeline, and the costs, again, are relatively small in typical drug development. So, we're in a nice niche where we're developing further upon drugs that already exist, but the market opportunity is still significant. We have data from a company called Health Advances, which advises us that in current market conditions, peak annual sales could reach anything up to $200 million a year. So for product #1, that's very beneficial. We then intend to rinse and repeat the same process again, 505(b)(2) process with buprenorphine, methylphenidate, work our way down the easily abused drugs and rinse and repeat the process. So buprenorphine, again, is a product that we were advised should have peak annual sales of up to $130 million. So product #1 and 2, which could be on the market in a relatively short space of time versus typical drug discovery and drug development, could reach $330 million, quite soon.
Now, Gareth, I'm going to put you on the spot here for just a moment, if you don't mind. Flat out, what is the essential value proposition? Why should an investor take an interest in Nutriband right now?
I think there's a number of things that you could focus as an investor if you look at the company. Our cap structure, firstly, is very clean. As we run the company, you can see financially, we're run very tight. The value for us is certainly in the shares and the shareholders we have on board. Right now, we're sitting at a market cap, which is probably going to be less than our gross profit once these products hit the market. And that's in the near term. Structurally, as a company, we're very focused. We have virtually no debt. We have no convertibles. We've kept everything as clean as possible, which we believe is typically not seen for a company of our size and our stage of development as a listed company. So we've been very careful to achieve that. And really, we don't know if that's been built into the price that we see today. I think the opportunity is that in the near term, we're looking at revenues potentially in the hundreds of millions of dollars with a good profit margin on a product like this. And this is just the beginning for us. We'll continue to expand and build upon that again. So coming back to the rinse and repeat model, we'll prove the model with fentanyl, and then it becomes very easily to apply Versa to more and more products down the line as we continue to build and grow. So I think that's the real value that we show today.
A company at the forefront of transdermal technology and a company helping people fight addiction. It's a great story, Gareth. Thanks for sharing it with us today.
Thanks, Greg.
Now, to get more information on Nutriband, visit NTRBinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter that you can subscribe to at redchip.com, and it features emerging growth companies just like Nutriband. Now, let's move on to our next interview today with Canfite Biopharma. Hello, we're here with Pnina Fishman, the Executive Chairperson and Chief Scientific Officer of Canfite. Pnina, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Canfite has an impressive pipeline of late-stage clinical assets. Let's start with a brief overview of your current programs.
Thank you. Our lead drug candidate, namodenoson, is in pivotal phase 3 study for the treatment of advanced liver cancer. And what we are expecting is that if the data will be reproducible, we will be able to get a conditional approval after an interim analysis of this study. The second indication is pancreatic carcinoma, where we are going very shortly to initiate a phase 2A clinical study. And last but not least, since this drug has a protective effect we are also treating patients in a phase 2B with this drug in the MASH indication, which is accumulation of fat in the liver, not on an alcoholic basis. Our second drug candidate is piclidenoson, currently positioned for the treatment of psoriasis. There are many drugs out there. However, our drug is a small molecule orally bioavailable drug given to patients twice daily, has no adverse events, and can be given for a chronic treatment for a very long time.
Now, Penina, with both the Food and Drug Administration and the European Medicines Agency agreeing on those pivotal phase 3 study protocols for your liver cancer program, what are the next steps and when can we expect results from the interim analysis?
So regarding the advanced liver cancer, we are already enrolling patients and we are waiting for an interim analysis that will be in about 2 years from now. As I've mentioned, if the data will be positive, we will be able to get a conditional approval for this drug. As of the psoriasis indication, we are going to initiate enrollment for a pivotal phase 3 study very shortly. And we are going to summarize the data in about 2.5 years from now.
Penina, namodenoson has received orphan drug and fast track designations from the FDA for liver cancer. How do these designations impact the development timeline and market strategy for the drug?
Thank you for this question. Basically, when we have the fast track for namodenoson, we get an FDA response very quickly after we are submitting data or asking for a specific regulatory status. Regarding the orphan drug, this is very important regarding our intellectual property, and it gets us IP protection for 7 years in a couple of countries all over the world. So this regulatory status of the fast track and also the orphan drug are very important for Canfite, and we are very proud of it.
Penina, I'd like you to provide some insights into the unique aspects of Canfite's technology platform. I especially want to know how it targets only pathological cells and how that might reduce the side effects compared to traditional treatments.
Indeed, you are right. Our technology knows how to differentiate between pathological cells, it means cancer and inflammatory cells, and normal body cells. It is based on overexpression of our target, which is an adenosine receptor, only in the pathological cells and not in the normal body cells. So when the drug will get into the body, it will go to its target, which is present only in the pathological cells and will spare the body normal cells. So this is why today, when we have already dosed more than 2,000 patients with our drug, we know that we have an excellent safety profile based on the platform technology.
I want to turn now to those out-licensing deals that Canfite has secured. I want to know, how do these partnerships support your overall business model, and what can investors expect in terms of future deals?
Thank you. Basically, in all our deals, we get upfront money, which is a non-dilutive money, which helps us a lot to keep developing our drugs. At the same time, down the road, when the drugs will start being marketed, we will have more regulatory and sales milestone, which will also get non-dilutive money into the company. And on top of everything, we will get also double-digit royalties. So, and regarding our future plans, of course, we are extensively working on to sign more out-licensing deals for additional global regions in the world.
How big are the market opportunities that your pipeline is addressing?
So actually, we are looking at huge markets. With the psoriasis, the market is going to be $31 billion on 2028. For the namodenoson for the treatment of advanced liver cancer, it's going to be $6.2 billion in 2029. And for the NASH, it's also a huge, huge market. It's going to be more than $20 billion on 2025. So we are addressing indeed huge markets with our drugs.
Now, in summary, Pnina, I'm an investor, let's say. Tell me, why should I take an interest in Canfite right now?
Yes, of course, we are developing small molecule drugs that are given orally to patients with an excellent safety profile and proven efficacy in phase 2 and phase 3 clinical studies. We are in a quite advanced stage of development, and we have a couple of out-licensing agreements that have been already signed and are a proof of concept for all our efforts to bring the drugs to the clinic. And we think that in quite short time, the company can get a very good valuation based on all these goodies that I have presented you.
It is a truly fascinating story, Pnina. Thank you for sharing it with us today.
Thank you very much.
Now, to get more information on Canfite, visit canfinfo.com. There, you'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Canfite Biopharma. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met Nutriband Incorporated, stock symbol NTRB on the NASDAQ. Nutriband is a pioneering U.S.-based pharmaceutical company focused on the development and commercialization of transdermal technologies that improve the safety, comfort, and efficacy of FDA-approved drugs, benefiting patients, physicians, and payers. Nutriband's lead product technology, Aversa, is an abuse-deterrent transdermal technology that incorporates aversive agents to prevent the abuse, diversion, misuse, and accidental exposure of drugs with abuse potential, such as opioids, a $22.8 billion global market. The company's first application for Aversa is an abuse-deterrent fentanyl transdermal patch, which is being developed to provide clinicians and patients a safe, extended-release patch for chronic pain. The goal is to make opioid-based pain treatments safe for all who need them. Aversa technology has received patent protection in the United States, the European Union, Australia, Japan, Mexico, and Russia, with patent protection pending in Canada. With anticipated peak annual sales of up to $200 million upon FDA approval, and a strategic partnership with Candiva for commercial development, Nutriband stands poised for significant growth. Nutriband's diversified structure, including revenue-generating subsidiaries and in-house manufacturing capabilities, solidifies its position as a unique player in the biopharma sector, promising investors a blend of innovation, sustainability, and market potential. Learn more at www.ntrbinfo.com. Then you met Canfite Biopharma, stock symbol CANF on the New York Stock Exchange American. Canfite Biopharma is an advanced clinical stage drug development company with a platform of oral drugs designed to address multi-billion-dollar markets in the treatment of oncology and inflammatory diseases. The company has 2 drug candidates in advanced stages of development: piclidenoson for the treatment of psoriasis and namodenoson for the treatment of advanced liver cancer. For each of the drugs, a registration plan has been agreed with both the United States FDA and the European Medicines Agency, and enrollment of patients for a pivotal phase 3 clinical study is ongoing for liver cancer and underway for psoriasis. Namodenoson also has a robust anti-cancer effect against pancreatic cancer, and a phase 2A clinical study will be initiated in the second quarter of 2024. Due to the liver protective effect of namodenoson, a phase 2B study for the treatment of NASH is currently enrolling patients. Piclidenoson and namodenoson have an excellent safety profile with experience in over 1,600 patients in clinical studies to date. Learn more at www.canfinfo.com. Now, don't forget to check out our stocks page. It's the biggest small cap stock portal in the industry. Every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with market caps of $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industries. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small cap companies. And also go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly client companies, and you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies. So please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting emerging growth companies.